How did you feel when you heard your name called for the first #1 draft pick? How was it? What did you feel? What was going through your mind?
I was very excited. I was a little more nervous. Just I was like, okay, I don't want to trip on stage. I don't want to, I don't want to make sure I walk across and I don't embarrass myself by doing anything. But I was definitely excited. I think I knew what was going to happen. Yeah. I knew what it was going to be called. But still, it surprised me the amount of energy and sort of buzz in the air, and it was a fun experience to have, and to hear your name and hear people cheer and other people boo and all that stuff. So it was neat.
I wanted to kind of go backwards a little bit and talk about your family and their role in your life. And you've obviously been mostly away from them, but you've got one sister who has been on campus with you. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious about them in relation to your kind of the infrastructure of your world and how they fit in and others might fit in for your support system, which I'm sure you are needing long about now.
No, absolutely. I'll start with my sister Mary Ellen on campus. She keeps me grounded, very much so. She never lets me get too big of a head. Because to her I'm still just the annoying older brother that probably tells her she shouldn't go out or date boys or do those things. But it's great to have her on campus. We joke that our relationship consists of, her texting me for my car and me saying no and her taking it anyway. But it's nice to have the support of your family and for them to be excited for you. I think that was probably the most fun about getting the whole experience, the draft and going to New York and all that was having your family there, and I think they were more excited than I was for for all the hoopla.
I'm just curious about how athletics kind of have infused your family and your family values, if there's anything.
No, I think we've always been encouraged to do things we liked, whether, obviously you want to do well in school. That was sort of a big focal point in our family was trying to do the best you can in school, and then if you enjoy sports, go out and do something. I think our parents wanted us to be well-rounded. I remember doing art classes all the way up until high school, learning to play the trombone, which I probably couldn't play it anymore, but trying to develop an appreciation. I think our parents wanted us to develop an appreciation for, literature or art or, whatever it may be. So, and sports was one of those things where, I think they wanted us to try out, and I think, obviously we all sort of enjoyed it, maybe a little more than the other one. So. We stayed at it, and it's nice. I wouldn't say it dominates our family's lives. It doesn't dominate, a dinner conversation. We don't talk about sports, all the time, but it is, a nice thing for the family to get around and watch a game or go watch, little brother's soccer game, or they all can fly out here and watch, a football game of mine or a volleyball game of Mary Ellen's.
So what about sort of childhood influences? You lived in Europe, you lived in Texas. Now you've lived in Palo Alto. I guess talk a little bit about those places and kind of what influences, maybe starting with Europe.
It was a great experience, I think. I don't think I really fully appreciated it while I was over there. And how could I? I was younger than fourth grade, between second and fourth grade, whatever it was. But I think it definitely made me appreciate different cultures more and learn, why certain people's customs are this way, and to respect those customs, and maybe make it's easier to get along with people or not harbor certain prejudices towards other people. Moving back to Texas, that was really interesting as well too. That was fun. It's a nice place to claim as home, I think. Now obviously the family's in West Virginia, but I still claim Houston as sort of hometown, and then having the chance to be in Palo Alto in Northern California for the past 4 years. It's been unbelievable. The weather here is incredibly hard to beat, and the people, and we joke, it's so expensive it seems to live out here, but it's just a weather tax because it's so nice all the time.
I heard that. What about Palo Alto? Because it is a very unusual place, but how is it for you and Stanford? Because they're one community, but at the same time they're distinct.
It's funny, before, I think my freshman year, really before I had a car, you're sort of within the Stanford bubble. You don't want to cross El Camino. Right. You don't want to go, across Sand Hill and whatever Stanford Avenue. You just don't do it because it's such a sort of self-contained campus. But I think once I got a car and started exploring more of the area, what a wonderful community. I think the coolest part for me is meeting families in the area and different people through, football and school and other things. And I think, that's one of the great things about Stanford is, the people you meet, as great as the degree is, really, I think it's about, making these connections and networking, for a lack of better words, with the community.
Well, we will miss you and hope you'll come back. And then on to the Midwest, where I happen to be from. I'm from Michigan. So you have spent a little bit of time there. Are you curious about anything there? Obviously, you'll be pretty tunnel vision with your new role at the Colts, but what are you curious about that part of the country?
I think driving in the snow. I've never done that. We'll see how that goes. But no, it'll be a nice, great opportunity to learn about a different part of the world. I've never had the chance really to live in the Midwest, so I'm curious. I'm excited. I think from all I know and from what I've seen in a couple weekends in Indianapolis, it's a great city with a lot of fun stuff going on. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
So obviously, the decision that you made to stay at Stanford to complete your degree, which you're about to get. Right?
My fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, very soon, was a big one. And what all went into that for you? And who or what influenced that, if you can share that?
A lot of things influenced it. One, I really enjoyed my time at Stanford, and I wanted to have another year of it. I think now I'm ready. I've gotten my 4 years of college. But last year, I think I was still really enjoying it. I wanted to come back and share those experiences, really with my teammates. I wanted to be closer to finishing up. I wanted to try and finish up school. That was sort of a goal going into college. I know I could come back, or if I had made the decision, come back in a couple years and finish up. But I wanted to sort of, close that chapter of my life, I guess, and be able to move on without a school or the degree hanging over my head, having to take it in a semester down the road. And I wanted to get better as a football player as well, and I think I did. I think I accomplished all three of those goals.
Yeah, that's good. I know you surprised a lot of people and created a lot of, created a real role model for a lot of people too. What would you say to a young high school athlete who might be making a transition to college? Do you have any advice? Because it wasn't that long ago that you were making that transition. Now you have another one ahead. What looking back, would you say or wish you'd known if you were that age?
That's a good question. I think it's try and learn from your experiences. You're gonna have bad times. You're gonna have good times. I thought part of college is going through a rough spot where you're homesick, or school's much harder than you thought it would ever be, and football's much harder, or for me, or you don't think you're ever gonna play. So take those experiences as learning experiences. Don't let them get you too down.
So let's talk about architecture a little bit.
Okay.
You are obviously a strong student and have remarkable spatial intelligence, which, from what I can tell, plays out on the football field and also in your architectural studies. Talk about how you got interested in that and kind of what that means to you.
As a kid, I always enjoyed playing with Legos, or putting things together and building things and drawing things. So I think that sort of architecture stuff started then. When I got to college, I took an architectural history class and really enjoyed it. Thought, this is my freshman year. Like, why not try one of the beginner studios, which are sort of the project classes in architecture? So I did, and I really enjoyed it. It's fun. To me, I'd rather do a project than write a paper or do a problem set. So it worked out well.
Do you think you'll be just sort of taking architecture and putting this over there while you're playing football, or who knows, one thing at a time, or what?
I have no clue. I think for this first year, I would focus on football and make sure I know what I'm doing, and can still throw a football and do all that. And then after that, who knows? I do enjoy it, and hopefully it can still be a part of my life.
Let's talk about friends a little bit. You have some really, really close friends from the team and from Stanford, and some of them are going to be joining you, or you're joining them, whatever. You're going to be together. How do you think that'll be for you?
It'll be great. Kobe Fleener and Griff Whalen. Kobe drafted in the second round, and Griff signed as an undrafted free agent with the Colts. So it'll be great. I've roomed with Griff for the past 3 years, so I think we know each other very well. We probably annoy each other more than we enjoy each other's company right now after rooming together for so long. But it'll be nice to see a familiar face in the locker room, and just have someone to call up to go to dinner or to a movie or play ping pong or whatever that is. So I'm really enjoying it, and they're good football players on top of that. So I think they'll really help the team out.
I'm curious about how your leadership skills, and clearly you need them as a quarterback and have them, how your leadership skills in football translate off the field.
That's a good question. I think, to me, a big part of leading in football was showing that you're actually a decent football player. I think it's you can be a good leader, but if you can't go out on the field and perform, get your job done, show the guys that they can count on you when they need to, then sort of you can't be a great leader per se. So a big part of leading for me was showing you're good at what you're doing, and then trying to do an example. Yeah, and then showing that you can handle your business and guys can count on you. I try to take that approach to to a school project if you're in a group. So show that you can handle your portion of the project and get it done, and maybe they'll look at your ideas a little more closely if you're trying to get something done. So I try to use that in all aspects of life.
As you look ahead to your place on the team and with the Colts, what are you wondering about?
I think I'm curious to see how the difference in the locker room dynamic, because you have 30-year-old men with families and children that are playing with 22-year-old kids like me. So I'm curious to see how that dynamic works out. How
do you feel playing for the NFL will be different than playing for Stanford?
From what I know, and obviously I've only been in one mini camp with the NFL, so I'm still trying to find my way. But I think it's much more of a business. Guys, come and go a little bit more. You have to approach it, I think, as a business. Whereas college, there's a little more of this sort of fraternity feel. I think you come in with a class of guys. There's 20 guys in your class, and you all going to stay for 4 years and do everything. So it'll be a little more of a business. I'm just excited for a chance to play in it, though.
And you love the game. Mm-hmm. So it seems like that maybe is one of the pieces of continuity, that if you love what you're doing and you love the game, that'll kind of carry you through the mechanics of it and the business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that'll be one consistent. Well, a number of things will be very consistent, but including that one, absolutely.
Well, good. Well, again, thank you, Andrew, and we will miss you in Palo Alto. Hope you'll come back.
Everything, yeah.
And happy graduation.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.